Trail talk time. Had another glorious trail walk. Last talk I digged into the deeper meanings of Christmas a little bit, and I wanted to now talk about the deeper meaning behind the term Christ. Christed meaning anointed. And as I said last time, there are many different ways to interpret the Bible, right? So I talked about looking at the journey of the sun, going through all of the constellations, and going into the tomb at the Southern Cross for 3 days to be resurrected, and start to now see all of the days become longer as we enjoy more sunlight. And I forgot to mention the story of the 3 wise men following this star in the sky. And this can be interpreted as Orion's Belt, right? These 3 stars, and they're pointing towards Sirius, which is the brightest star in the sky. And so at this point during Christmas, that is when they are all perfectly lined up towards Sirius, and you can see that it's pointing towards where the sun will be reborn from the Southern Cross. So it's very interesting to see all the deeper metaphors in the Bible. And you can look at this perspective as the sun in our sky, traveling. And you can also look at what's going on within our bodies and this process of resurrection that happens within us. And it's such a huge topic, so I'm basically just going to give the nuts and bolts to hopefully help some people. But so when the moon is in our sun sign, our astrological sign, I'm a Scorpio, for instance, so it has actually just finished happening for me. But when the moon enters our sun sign, and there's a process that happens throughout our body. And so we can look at the story of Mary and Joseph and Jesus being born from these 2, and you can look at Joseph being the pineal gland and releasing serotonin, or the milk, from the story of the land of milk and honey, and Mary representing the pituitary gland, representing the honey, or the DMT. And these 2 secretions are released and travel down the spine into your solar plexus region, which could be called the manger. And this psychophysical germ is born there. And so at this time, it starts to make its ascent up your body to the medulla oblongata, and this is where it's said to be crucified, and it rests in the hypothalamus for 2.5 to 3 days, just as they said that Christ was on the cross for this amount of time. And it is then reborn as it makes its journey through this. And if you are living in a pure way, in a healthy way, just like the story of Santa Claus, right? Jim Carrey talked about this in a video about the Claustrum, which represents Santa Claus. This is where these oils are being produced and are being sent down your chimney as a gift. And so if you're living in a healthy way and you keep your body in an alkaline state, and there are so many different ways to help this process, so that when your oil makes its way back up into your brain, your energy is now multiplied by thousands of times, and you are said to be anointed or enlightened. And so some things that are for sure helpful are diet. Definitely during this time, paying attention to your diet, and it's definitely a good idea to fast during this time as much as you can. Stay light, but if you're eating, eat a lot of good alkaline foods and keep your body in a good pH balance, because acidity is going to basically destroy this oil. So refraining from drinking alcohol is a big one, and excess sugar and stuff. Any acidic foods like meat and animal products like that. This is a time where it's good to really go inward and be with yourself and meditate. Visualize that energy flowing up your spine freely and awakening your chakras. You know, any yoga practice is going to be key at this time to open up our body to that energetic flow and allow this oil to flow through us. So there are many breathing exercises that you can do to help this process along and get that energy flowing in a balanced way. And essentially remaining in a loving state, in a positive state, because even, you know, our emotions and stuff can start to affect our energy, right? That's essentially what emotion can stand for, is the energy in motion. And so to come into a peaceful and meditative state during this time is going to be very key. But it is so amazing to learn about all of this stuff. You know, this is just the bare bones of it. And you can just go on Google and search up all this stuff. You know, I found out a good website where you can see where your where the moon is in your sun sign. And obviously it's good to practice healthy habits throughout your whole life, not just during these 3 days, but to really be mindful during these 3 days of the way you're living. And like I said, especially diet. It all plays a key role in this beautiful process that happens within us all. And I think, you know, this type of information is hidden for many reasons, but, you know, when there's people in power who wish to remain in power by any means necessary, some will do it. And, you know, disempowering the people is certainly a good way to make them feel helpless and feel like they need to look up to someone for their power or for governance, right? Because this is very deep knowledge. But I mean, anybody who has access to the internet has access to this type of information now. And I'm only just scratching the surface, but I mean, I've certainly realized that I've felt these effects before I ever learned about the whole science behind it. And I'm still learning every day. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video to talk about these deeper aspects You know, there's so many good little juicy nuggets in there in the Bible, especially, that give us these keys to our own awakening or enlightenment. And so I think it's important to dig deeper into the deeper metaphors of it all, because it can help us so much. You know, this helps to awaken our energy and ignite our brain and all of these dormant brain cells that we might not be using, and it awakens our DNA to its full potential. So I really hope this was helpful to anybody that's watching. I'm going to leave a link to that website in the description down below, where you can see where the moon is in your sun sign, and that's definitely a good place to start. So yeah, that's all I want to share for today. I hope everyone has a beautiful day. Happy New Year to everyone. Stay blessed and stay healthy, and continue to dive deeper into the deeper aspects of life. Peace and limitless love.